Okay, so good morning out there, Facebook world, and welcome to Saturday Morning Yoga Lab. I'm DL, and this particular Facebook Live class is more of a shared practice space than a planned class, and I'm just going to be winging things based on what I'm feeling today. And today I woke up with some stiffness in my lower back, so I want to work with that. So I'm going to be doing some restorative, working on the back, supine, and we'll see how that all unfolds. Probably some work with the core and psoas, and probably more of a more holds and restorative type of yoga work rather than asana or any kind of flow. I mean, there might be some, I don't know. I wing it. So if you would like to join me this morning in the first restorative posture, you will need 2 chairs, and they can be folding chairs in this instance. I know last week I said folding chairs have a tendency to collapse, which is true if you're doing certain standing poses, but for today's restorative pose, the chairs will work even if they're folding. So the other thing though is that the chair, if it's, okay, so let me explain what we're going to do and then you can set up. I'll give you some time to do that and then we'll enter the pose together, okay? Good morning, watcher. Okay, so the other thing that I have here is a blanket rolled up for my knees. And what I was going to say a moment ago is that when you come up to the chair, you want your hip crease right at the edge of the chair. So if your chair happens to be too high, then you're going to probably need something like maybe, I'll show you an example, maybe a couple of yoga blocks or books if you have them, or just stack blankets a little higher, or even use a rolled up yoga mat here and then cover it so it's soft with the blanket. And then that will allow you to come up higher to the chair, the edge of the chair. Okay. So I don't need the blocks. And then as you come up to the first chair and you lay your trunk over that first chair, you're going to want the second chair somewhere out in front of you so that you can extend your arms to the back of the chair. And then a place to rest your forehead on the edge of the chair, the second chair. So go ahead and set up your space. And also, I don't think I can really play music and have it sound good on Facebook Live, so I'm not even going to try. But if you want to play some music, that will probably support you in going a little deeper with the feeling, sensing aspect, because we're going to be here for a while. So go ahead and join me when you're ready, or if whatever I show you, if you're not prepared with the chairs and such, then you can always come back later and watch this video when you can take the time to set up for yourself. But this is so wonderful. If you have lower back issues, I think you're going to love this. So just lowering my trunk, resting my forehead at the edge of the chair so I have plenty of room and space to breathe. And then reaching to the back of the chair, I can hold on to the backs if you have, a back anywhere. And it can be, you can hold up high, you can hold up low. I'm just going to put my hands through the back of the chair. And take the time to settle in. And if anything feels off or uncomfortable, adjust. And that's true at any moment, even if you're 10 minutes in and something becomes uncomfortable, then just adjust or come out. So in starting to release to the pose, begin to focus on the sensations you feel as you breathe. So you'll feel maybe your belly moving into and then away from the seat of the chair as you breathe. And just give in and start to receive the support from the chairs. You might also be able to get a sense of the back body expanding with the breath up and away. And it might feel really good to also suspend the breath on the inhale and kind of feel how the breath pushes the tissues of the body in different directions. Long, deep breathing. Not by trying to, just by allowing the breath to deepen and soften. Now, you might notice that maybe there's a little bit of a rub or an uncomfortable sensation under your hip bones. My chairs are padded, and so I don't have that issue. But if you notice that, then you'll want to grab something soft, blanket, towel, something you can place on the chair to add a little cushion. You want to be as comfortable as possible. You know, in restorative yoga, it's all about impeccable levels of comfort, which means no matter how challenging it is to gather all your props, or how many times you have to come in or out of a pose to set yourself up properly, it's worth it, because the props are what help you to release and relax. They become your support. And you can't rest into support if you don't trust it, if it doesn't feel comfortable. With each exhalation, can you soften a little more? Notice where you might be holding. I noticed a little bit of tension through my arms, which I'm now working to relieve. And really, when I say that I'm working to relieve it, that's not really exactly accurate. What I'm really doing is allowing the body, kind of stepping away with my mind and getting out of the way of the body. Instead of thinking it's something I have to do, creating space for the body to take care of itself. Now, in a moment, I'm going to invite you to move the second chair that are holding your arms, either to the right or the left, slightly. And that's just going to give you a slightly different sensation on the right side of the back or the left side of the back. We'll go to each direction. You can choose which direction to go first. So I'm going to go off to the left first. I'm just going to move the chair maybe an inch or two. And then I'm going to reach again. So now I have a slightly longer reach on the right side of my body and a slightly shorter sensation in my left side. Kind of funny, if anyone is just popping into the video and nothing's happening, they might think there's a problem with the camera. No problem here. Feeling good. And just notice the sensations in the lower back from this position, what is able to release. And then when you're ready, and if you want to, moving the chair off to the other direction. So off center by a couple of inches. And then now feeling the other side lengthen to reach the back of the chair or towards the back of the chair. The other side shortens now. And so each time you readjust, there might be a tendency to stay in some sort of contraction or lifting up and off. So the job here, of course, is just to release and surrender to your supports, softening the body. And if you've noticed that your breath has changed, which it might, just see, is it still a full breath? If it's restricted, then you might be reaching too far. You might be folded over the first chair, a little too high or low. You should be able to breathe as freely as if you were, just in any other posture. Sensing and feeling. I just noticed a really nice sensation of warmth in my thighs, which I think is because there's a increase in circulation for me as a result of this posture through the legs. And I can also feel my feet now starting to soften and release a little deeper on the insides of my arch. It's a really nice sensation. When you are ready, go ahead and bring the chair back to center and just take a moment there. You can actually rest your arms now on the seat of the chair. So come out of the intensity of reaching, just so you can recenter yourself. And we're all going to have really red foreheads when we come up. So when you are ready, use either the seat of the chair or the legs of the chair to help push yourself straight up. And then walk to the first chair so you can come all the way up. Just take a moment on your knees. And then sit back on your heels. And you can rest a little on your forearms if you'd like. It's just to give the back a chance to recollect. Now the feeling in my thighs is even stronger in terms of the blood returning to the legs. Okay, so restorative back care. I'm going to move the chairs. Go ahead and clear your space so you just have your mat. And we'll come onto our backs. Take your time getting there. Do anything you feel you need to feel your body, to fully be in your body as well. And then we're going to start in constructive rest. I'm going to take my socks off because then you'll be able to see my feet and might make my shape a little more apparent on video. So I have my feet slightly wider than hip width, very, very slightly. And my toes are fairly close to my buttocks, my heels fairly close. So this feels good to me. It feels, really strong and as though I'm supported, rather than if I had my feet further away, I just wouldn't feel as collected. So I'm taking my feet a little closer. And in fact, if you want, you can explore what it feels like to be on the toes. Not pressing or anything, just lightly on the toes with the heels elevated. And I'm not reaching away with my feet intentionally. I'm just lightly on my toes. My heels may drop towards the floor a little, but there's just space there. So you can play with that sensation if you like. So I'm just arriving, and right away my hands went to my face. So if you would like to give yourself a little face massage here. There's no right or wrong, and I don't want to be really prescriptive. I just want you to be able to rub your face along your eyebrows, through your hairline, around the cheeks and ears, and down the jaw and neck. So just whatever feels good, find what you would like to do. And if you're not sure what you want to do, then just be still for a moment and wait and see what happens. I didn't think about bringing my hands to my face. They just went there. So I let them, and I followed the impulse. So now I'm giving myself a little bit of a massage along my upper back here and neck. Pulling the tissues forward. And that felt like enough for me, I guess. So I'm going to just let my arms be somewhere along my sides. And now I'm feeling that I do want to let my feet come all the way to the ground, so I'm going to move them a little further away from my buttocks. And just pause here in constructive rest to feel myself arrive more fully on the floor now. And I notice that I'm holding up my legs a little bit through my groin, and I don't want to do that because that's tension. So I'm going to separate my feet a little wider and let my knees fall in towards the center. Now all of that tension can release. Just feeling the impression of my body on the floor, becoming aware of my toes. You might notice that my weight on one foot's a little heavier than the other, so I'm going to adjust, just explore some pressing into the floor with my feet and toes. Noticing that there's probably some kind of a little twist in my lower back at the moment, part of my problem. So just being aware of that, not necessarily something I can fix. And then feeling my pelvic bowl, the back of the pelvis, lower back. Definitely feel some inequality there today. Can't quite put my finger on it, and that's okay, but I have an awareness of the sensation. And then up the sides of my spine now, feeling the curve in my lower back and how it pours into the thoracic and my weight through my middle back. My upper body through the shoulder blades now, and the shoulders, the back of the shoulders, backs of the arms. Into the hands, fingers. Feeling the space in front of the neck and also the curve in the back of the neck. And the weight of the head. And now just bringing my attention to all the points that are in contact. So my feet, lower back and pelvis, the middle back, shoulders, and the head. I'm just trying to bring an equality to the pressure of all those points. So instead of feeling head heavy or foot heavy or pelvis heavy, seeing if I can find some equilibrium there. And as I do, I notice a response in my breath. What do you notice? So what I'd like to start doing now, I'm just going to take my feet in a little closer. And I'm going to begin to rock the pelvis towards the feet, so arching the lower back. And then flattening the back as I bring the pelvis back up towards the head. So it's a little rocking motion, basically cat-cow, which we do often on all fours, but we're just doing it now on our backs. And we're not lifting the pelvis off the floor. It's staying nice and heavy. The tailbone is always connected. So if you can here, see if you can start to get a sense of, as the pelvis moves, it drives the spine. The spine is kind of coming along for the ride. As I move the pelvis downward toward my feet, it pulls my whole spine downward. And as I go the other way, my spine moves along the floor, upward. Just go into this movement with a sensing, feeling mind. Notice sensations even on the skin as you move. Somatic movement and somatic yoga, that word somatic, it's all about the feelings and sensations of the body. And so yes, we have to slow down. We have to be more aware. And we have to allow the body to respond, with the breath, with sound. And now I find that I'm pressing in to my middle back because it feels good. You can try that, or you can just continue to do what you're doing. Pressing in here as I tip my pelvis toward my head. I'm pressing in more with the feet now. And then as I tilt the pelvis down, I'm pressing in more with the middle back. And even maybe the head now. As I start to get some movement and some freedom, my shoulders lift off the ground. And then I come back through. So you can start to explore that for yourself if you like. Pressing in more with the feet in one direction and more with the middle back in the other, and just seeing what happens next. What part of the body would respond next? As a whole integrated chain that is affected by one part, the whole chain moves. I'm starting to feel an aliveness and awakening through my arms, and I'm going to bring them overhead. You're welcome to stay as you are, or to explore this reaching over the head with the arms, and now the sensations that arise through the middle of the body, and maybe even along the sides of the body. Maybe the arms can lower to the ground, and maybe they hover And you may or may not continue with the movement through the pelvis, rocking. You may just pause and start to explore the upper body, or you can work both and explore both. And you may hold in a certain posture and feel the lengthening. Or the emptying. Notice the similarity that this movement, this posture, has to what we were doing in the restorative posture that we started with the chairs. It's very similar. And so that gives me the idea here to reach off to the left or right, just to notice how that feels. And I reached with both arms, but then this right arm came back. But that left arm is still reaching towards the upper corner and the back. So now I'm feeling that on the right side here of my body, which lengthens. My other side is shortening. Right arm just trying to find comfort. And now I'm actually engaging in that short side and bringing it towards, my shoulder a little bit towards my hip. And I'm going to see if I can just release that tension. So my lower back released a little. Now my head starts to loll in the opposite direction. Just trusting the body. Yours may or may not be doing what I'm doing. Your body may be taking you in an entirely different direction. Go with that flow and trust what your body needs and its ability to communicate with you and your ability to listen to it. Bringing my shoulders back to the center, and now I'm going to reach off in the other direction, so going to the right this time, reaching with both arms in the upper right corner of my mat, and then that left arm settling somewhere comfortable, feeling the shortened right side now, and the lengthened left side. Rolling the head if that feels good. Letting it lead you. So when I point out things that I feel in my body, it's to help you become aware of things that you may or may not feel in the moment, but may feel at some point. So just helping you be aware of the things that you might feel. And one of the things I just noticed is, the problem that I woke up with in my lower back, the tightness and stiffness, is on the right side. And what I noticed as I turned my head now to the left is that my left neck is tight. And that makes sense because very often, if there's tightness in one part of the body, a higher part, the relating part of the body on the opposite side will have a similar issue. take myself back to center. And just release everything I've been doing and just kind of let go for a moment. And actually, I feel like shaking now. Shaking my legs, pelvis, feeling a little bit of a jiggle. And that's just helping that lower back again settle. I love shaking movement. It can feel good in the moment, but it also just feels like 100 times better immediately after in that stillness. So I'm just going to shake a bit more. I'm not lifting here, everything's heavy. I'm just sort of rocking, shaking side to side. I even feel it a little bit in the belly. And of course, in the whole body if I pay attention. All jiggling. So I can actually make the movement a little grander. And now I feel it more, my shoulders are in the act. I can feel it more in my arms and even in my head. My head starts to jiggle with the motion. My body be jello. And maybe I still arch and flatten the back. That changes my sensations as well. And then that moment of stillness and that sensation of life in my body, of just this power of existence, shimmying cells, freed energy. Happy dancing cells. I'm going to draw the elbows now in to the sides of my body. And I'm going to let the upper arm be nice and tight in, and the lower part of my arm just kind of float in space. And I'm going to start to explore what it feels like to press into the floor with these upper arms close into my body, maybe even walking them in towards each other a little bit, so I feel this pocket of space in my back. My tailbone is still connected to the ground, the sacrum's connected to the ground. But my middle back and my lower back lift off the ground. So it's a little bit of a back bend here. And it's all supported, not from me trying to push myself into a back bend, but simply by using the weight of the arms and relating to the ground with the arms and allowing those spots at the back to lift off and then down. And I really feel the working of the arms here. So if your arms get tired, just let go back to the ground and rest. Take a breath, and then if you feel like it, explore a little more with pushing into the ground. Your head might start to move as well. You may round the other direction as a counter, and then come back and lift. No right or wrong. Remember that and trust your body. So we're just opening the chest here, drawing the shoulder blades together in the back. And you might want to start exploring what would come next here. If this movement were to grow through the body and come out from the center towards the limbs, what would happen next for you? You might push into the ground with one foot and allow the back to completely peel away from the floor as you roll onto one hip and one side of the body. And then maybe rolling back to a neutral place before you return. So pressing in with the arms again, and then just asking curiously, what would be the next thing here? It might be the same thing. It might be different. You might lift your whole pelvis off the ground up towards the ceiling, staying really connected with the backs of the arms. I'm taking my toes in towards my buttocks here so that I can press into the ground with my feet. And I'm making circles through my pelvis here as well, just trying to, because I have that nagging tension in my lower back, I'm just trying to release that before I press into the ground with my feet. You know, not press away, but press into. It's like sinking into a soft clay as I come up with my knees reaching away. And I stay kind of hammocked through the belly. I'm not trying to push my belly button toward the ceiling or anything here. Just feels good to be suspended. Feeling the nice weight on my upper back, but no tension through my neck. My weight is not on my neck. My neck is free. Might even drop the heels here just to feel what that's like, one at a time maybe, or both. Oh, nice reach in my upper thigh. That feels really good. And it's different from right to left for me, which also points to the fact that my back is a little imbalanced right now. So you can lift and lower a heel if you want to try that. Or stay in the hammock or come down at any point. Just follow yourself. Oh, now I just want to extend my legs. Oh. So I'm just bringing my arms in a little closer along my sides. But my feet are at the corners of my mat, so just wherever you feel like resting, if you feel like resting. I just want to take a moment here to feel how I feel now versus when I started today. Does my back feel different? It does. It definitely does. And I'm noticing a desire to put some energy in my feet. So I'm opening the toes and then letting them draw back together. So spreading the toes wide. There's a little bit of a flex in the foot. Just feeling that tension as I reach and lengthen around the bone. And then releasing, letting the toes relax. And then I'm going to start to play piano with my toes. So what I mean by that, in fact, I'd like to bring my toes towards you so you can see what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of press my big toe down, keep my other toes up. And then as best I can, it's not easy, especially because I have webbed toes for two of my toes. But I'm going to try to play piano, try to press through my toes one at a time, and then back up. So big toe, then the little toes follow, and then back up. So it's this kind of dance through the toes. And your toes may be doing some chaotic mess, and that's fine. Just wiggle your toes. And if, as you gain control of them and become stronger through your toes, you might be able to articulate through them a little better. And then go reverse so that you have a sense of the pinky toe going first towards the floor, and then finally the big toe, and then the pinky comes back, etc. And then flexing the feet towards the head, just feeling the length of the legs. And then pointing the feet, and flex and point at your own will and volition. I'm going to swing back to my side. And now I'm just really wanting to draw my knees in. So I think I'll do one at a time. So if you'd like to, you can draw in one leg towards your chest, holding on to the shin or behind the leg, or just letting the leg be there by itself. And I feel like I want to take this leg across my body, and I'm going to keep my foot flexed to protect the knee and the hip from hanging off the bones. My bottom leg is reaching away from me. I may or may not be able to come to the ground, and I don't really want to. I want to feel stretched, but you're welcome to come all the way down if you want to. But rather than collapse, I want to stay in a pendiculation here. I want to tighten and lengthen and then release. Bringing that back. And lowering that leg. I'm going to go to the other side. Just taking it towards the chest to begin. And I'm going to flex both feet so that I can start to bring this leg across my midline to the other side.
reaching with the long leg, flexed through the bent leg foot. Maybe even reaching away with this arm away from the leg. Feeling that nice twist through my mid-body. And rolling back when you're ready. I'm going to bring both knees in now. Towards my armpits, though, I feel like opening. So rather than having the knees together, which you can do, feel free to do that as well, but I'm opening mine to my armpits. Just feeling that, rocking on my spine a bit, right to left on my hips. And I'm just going to grab for my feet, and you may or may not be able to reach yours, and so you can just hold on to your knees or your shins or ankles. If you can grab your feet, fine. I'm going to grab my toes, so I'm going to loop my finger and thumb around my toe and make a circle, a loop, and just pull my feet towards myself. I even feel like lifting my head up towards my feet. Just going around here, keeping my sacrum on my back, on the floor rather. And I'm going to open up into baby pose. So now I'm going to let the legs play a little. So I might bend in one knee, other knee lengthens, just kind of rocking on the lower back. And again, letting the body lead me to what feels good. Opening my legs to a V here, flexing the feet. Doesn't matter if the legs are straight, but you do want to keep a micro bend in your knees if they are, so you're not rigid through the joint. Now I'm crossing the midline with both feet at the same time. So just exploring all your possibilities here. And coming back to knees into chest. And releasing back to constructive rest with the knees bent, feet on the floor. Taking a moment here to feel sensations in the body. What do you notice? What do you feel? Notice how the body will take you from one part to the next. It will draw your mind in various directions. So from holding onto my toes and working with my legs, I notice that there's tension now in my lower arm and hands. And so I'm going to do a little bit for my wrists and upper lower arms. It's just pressing the hand back as I reach the arm up towards the ceiling, flattening the palm towards the ceiling with the other hand grabbing the fingers and just putting my weight there to help stretch through the front of the arm, or actually the underside of the arm, I guess. The inside of the arm. It's very confusing when your wrist is pointing the other way. Releasing that, and then pointing your fingers up towards your face and pressing the other way. Giving a shake. Going to the other arm. Fingers down. Fingers up. Shake. And relax along your sides. Just notice any last little movements your body wants to do here. There is one pose I've really been enjoying this week that I'd like to share with you to close class. So if you have either a stack of blankets or a pillow or a bolster, if you happen to be lucky enough to have a bolster, good gracious, my hair, go ahead and grab that and then come back. And then when you're ready, what you're going to be doing is setting up the bolster in front of your body, or blankets stacked, or pillows and blankets stacked. In fact, I'm going to make mine a little higher here.
The other thing that you might want here is something to support your head. So you might need an extra blanket, or, you know, I mean, I have my, I have a robe here. So you could use that. Or if you have a block, the block will work. And of course, if you have none of these things, you can just adapt by coming down onto your belly. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the hip crease right at the beginning of where the bolsters, blankets, pillows start. And then drape your trunk over your supports. Now the head should be free from the supports, and that's why we need something here. I'm going to use the block, and I might, yeah. So you have to get the right head level to be comfortable, so you don't feel like you're straining your neck. Actually, this might be good. If you have a really long bolster, that might not be the best option here, but if you can create space like we had in the first restorative position with the chairs, so that your nose is free and you're free to breathe. And then you can decide if you want to put your hands, your arms alongside the body. That might feel really nice. Or you might prefer to have your arms in front of you in more of a, you know, this is kind of like a supported Sphinx pose. And I'm just going to turn my head so I can make sure you can hear me. So, you know, here we are in this final Shavasana as a restorative pose. Your job, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to release yourself into your supports. Allow the tissues of your body to soften around the supports. And it's especially in this particular posture that I love so much. You can really feel your whole back body kind of rounding around the supports like a mushroom. And it's just such a nice feeling. And notice I'm a little too high. I need to bring my hips back down. So I want that decline through my lower back and my legs going down to the floor. Just breathe and relax.
I'll just share with you that as I breathe, I'm having this sensation of energy flowing from my back, maybe even like a toxic water flowing out and down my legs and out my feet. And I feel my feet opening to really allow that release of toxins, of tensions, of stagnant energies. Take a deep breath and prepare to come out of the posture in your own time, nice and slow. You might want to place your hands in front of you and come up to a supported cobra, or you might just push back into a child's pose, whichever. Coming into a comfortable seated position when you're ready. Wow. I don't know about you, but I feel amazing. Just taking a moment in stillness, sitting upright now, again to feel and sense. Let's rub the hands together. Bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra. Maintaining a little space between your hands for your intent for the day, whatever it may be. Let's breathe in nice and deep and hold the breath at the top. Release when you need to. Hold while you can. Again, breathing in. Hold and lengthen the body, the spine, through the crown of the head. Last time, breathe in deep. Hold. And release. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful for you. Have a tranquil day.